This video is going to be, you could say, a guided meditation on receiving sacred, divine, healing energy that can bring peace to the mind, soothe a troubled heart, and actually heal the body. Warm welcome to anyone who's new. Warm welcome back to anyone who's not new. This is based on the life, work, and teachings of a very special teacher named Bruno Groening. You can find out more about him on my website, thehealingstream, STREAM.org. So, for me, it's the middle of the day as I'm making this. In many cultures, it's considered part of the culture to take a siesta or a rest kind of around the middle of the day. And there's a lot of wisdom to that. And there's also a lot of wisdom during that siesta to not just nap, but to actually take in energy. I personally didn't know that this was possible, that I could sort of take in vital life force. I thought that happened only through food or through sleeping. But thanks to the teachings of Bruno Groening, my mind was very much expanded to what's possible. And now I realize that actually this teaching, it's not something that Bruno Groening himself made up. It's actually, you can find it throughout many, many different cultures and wisdom traditions. This idea that we literally live in a sea of energy that's accessible for spiritual awakening, for revitalizing and healing the body, and also, as I said at the start, to bring peace to the mind and heart. So enough talking, let's go ahead and do it. Please sit with your legs uncrossed, feet flat on the floor, hands on your legs, palms facing upwards, back in a relaxed upright position, not stiff, but not slouched over either. And take a nice deep breath and close your eyes. Now, before we take in this energy, we need to give away anything that might be blocking us or could block this energy, such as fears, resentments, situations we're worried about. So please hand over, separate yourself from anything that feels troublesome. Hand it over to your understanding of a higher power. Spend a minute in silence doing that, mentally, emotionally separating, handing over problems, burdens, and worries. Any situations from the past that don't feel resolved, you can hand those over. Anything you're worried about in the future, you can hand that over. Now, having done that, ask to receive. Please, higher power, God, whatever word you use or are comfortable with, I want to be healthy, happy, and well again. Ask to receive this energy and observe your body as if you were standing in the sunlight and you were drinking in, absorbing the warmth, the light, the goodness. The mind wanders off, bring it back. Just keep coming back to the intention to take in this divine healing energy. taking this energy in with faith that, or at least openness that nothing is incurable and nothing is impossible. Letting thoughts pass on by. If there's a persistent negative thought, handing it over to your higher power or asking for help to let it go. taking in the blessing of higher power, of God, being willing to let go of everything that doesn't serve, that isn't harmonious. to share a few words. Please continue to tune in. If you'd like to stay in silence, feel free to mute me. So today is Good Friday, 2024. And it's a solemn day. As I mentioned yesterday, Bruno said the killing of Christ was humanity's greatest sin, which is a very deep statement. I've been pondering it a while, continuing to ponder it. One thing that Bruno Groening pointed out is that now, it wasn't always this way, and it won't always will be this way, but right now, and it's been this way for a while, but not forever, and it won't last forever, this world is a battleground between good and evil. And Bruno pointed out that anyone who does any significant amount of good will be attacked. Of course, Christ is maybe the most obvious example, but Bruno Groening himself was heavily challenged and attacked externally, much less internally. And I think of people such as Martin Luther King and Gandhi, who their lives were taken because of their sacred holy work. So it's a very sobering statement. And it can be depressing. It can be, if we don't have the full picture, to think of this life or this earth currently as a battleground. Yet Bruno was adamant that the good would prevail, that there would be a kind of restoration on this planet that we cannot fathom, that all evil would one day no longer have a home here, would be evicted. Who can fathom such a thing, a world without suffering, without violence? It's very hard to fathom. And yet early Christians believed that that's what Christ taught. That's what the good news was. The English word gospel comes from a Greek word, evangelicum, which means good news, declaration of a victory, declaration of a change of leadership. And that's what it was understood that Christ was teaching about, that there would be this day of restoration. And though we needed to be patient and strive and struggle for that restoration, we could have tastes of it here and now. And I think we all get tastes of it through tuning in. The good feeling that comes, like right here, right now, I feel like I don't have any problems. And of course, I'm a human being. I have problems and challenges just like everybody else, but in a place of deep connection, deep communion with God, with the sacred, we can really be lifted above and even have some of those problems be just completely turned around, healed. So Bruno Groening was very vigorously both supported and attacked. There were many people who were very much in favor of him, and there were very many people who were very much against him. We can see something, if the accounts are accurate, then 2,000 years ago, Christ experienced a similar, many people very supportive of him and his work and his mission, and quite a few people in opposition. And those, of course, are just the external people, much less the internal forces. So Bruno Groening said that Christ knew what would happen to him if he came in advance. And he came anyway. So it's a very common Christian thing to say, Jesus loves you. And that's a nice sentiment. And the question is, well, what does that mean? And on Easter, one thing that it means, to me anyway, thanks to Bruno's teachings, is that Christ knew the suffering he would have to go through in order to help all of us, not just the people that, not just the people he encountered directly, but the human race. And yet he came anyway. I don't claim to know how hard it was for Christ to be here. Bruno has given us snippets about little clues of how hard it was for him, and I assume it was as hard, if not harder, for Christ to be surrounded by so much evil and to be so in such a state of communion with God and yet be swimming in a sea of evil. So Christ and Bruno came to this earth to help, and great souls like them come to help. So however you do or don't celebrate Good Friday, for me it's a time of reflection, of gratitude to Christ for coming. Thank you so very much for dropping by. I wish you a blessed, blessed day. And let's close with a prayer. Beloved source, and since it's Good Friday, and our dear friend, Jesus Christ, please, for everyone who attended this live video, for everyone who watches it, for everyone who comes by this channel, please, the highest blessing. Please, for all the friends of Bruno Groening, all the followers of Jesus Christ, all those who are following a spiritual path, please, the highest blessing. Please, for all those who are striving for the good in so many different ways, and especially, please, grace, mercy, intervention for those who feel lost, who maybe don't believe in the good anymore, aren't striving for it, who feel really stuck. Please, grace and mercy. And for ourselves, that inside each one of us, we may accomplish the great turnaround, the great return, back to living in harmony with nature, back to living a divine, sacred life, and back to knowing that we are divine, sacred beings, and having absolute and complete trust in our Maker. Thank you so very much for joining in, and I wish you a blessed, blessed day. Take care.